Okay, hey, it's been a while, guys. I've actually just finished, like within the last 10 minutes, the Mighty Endeavor. Um, Phenomenal game, but I'll get to my thoughts on those on the game itself once I get through a few things. So, this game, I've been playing it for quite a while. It's actually very, very fun, very, very easy, very simple game, especially if you want, if you're got people that you want to get interested or that are somewhat interested in wargaming. This is a great setup. So this is a great first game that is very easily teachable, but it's also fun for those higher end war games. There's still some strategy there. In this case, with the Mighty Endeavor, the person that's new really wants to would more or less be would be the allies, while the experienced player would be the Germans. So I will tell you what I did do, but not quite yet, with it being finished. It was really fun. I had a lot of fun. The die rolls tonight were phenomenal. I was going against very overwhelming odds, which had I had to roll high to get the result I did for the entire game. Everything came down to this last turn, which is phenomenal. It's actually really fun, and I got caught up in a few places. So one couple areas I got caught up where my allies couldn't just move through. I got caught up in Brussels. I got caught up taking Brussels. The Germans really strongly protected it, had it fortified, and then in the cities you have a three times defensive. So their defensive strengths are three times what would normally be in the clear. So having Brussels being a city, their defensive strength is very, very strong. So one thing I do love about the system is that, and I know it might be hard to see. Let me see if I can arrange this just right. You can see the middle number. So this is a 465. So this would be one that I'd have issues with. So the six would be tripled. So this becomes an 18 defensive unit instead of just a six. And when you add this up, I was going against 50, 60 strength units with that. So I spent way too much time trying to get Brussels. The rolls were not going my way. I finally get it set up where I could surround them, maybe possibly put them out of supply, because if they're out of supply, everything's halved. So these six units would be 3 unit defensive units. It's a very good idea. Matter of fact, Kev over on Hipshot, over on Big Board, said, "Why don't you just surround him?" Well, I kept trying to surround him, but what would end up happening is the Germans, I couldn't get a full four stacked unit across, so it was very, very hard to go against that. So I was trying to get them around and surrounded, but I couldn't. It wouldn't. Every time I did that, the Germans would attack the kind of the weaker spot to keep in supply. I could never get it fully surrounded. If not, I would have surrounded it and then just waited out the 2 turns, and they would have been gone. They would have surrendered, which didn't happen. Finally, I did get it taken care of, and it made a big sense. So let me kind of talk about a couple other things. So the rules, I printed these off because I like to make notes if I need, and sometimes highlight. I didn't need to do that. I mean, seriously, the series rules comes in at a whopping 7 pages. Seriously, 7 pages. It's very, very simple. Here's supply. Here's how you attack. Good examples with this as well. Makes it real sense. Secondly, the module rules. Now, I got the Mighty Endeavor, which is the expanded edition. So what you end up getting is, and I'll show the map here in a second, but there's actually an additional map, so it has the west and the east front. I don't have the room to play the east front currently. So my next goal is to eventually, when I'm able to, is to get that. So A couple of things. You can use this expansion with it as well. There's kind of like two expansions. So this would be the Brest, Lorient, the Normandy area. So that comes with it as well. And then, and I'm trying not to make a mess here as I go through this. You have the East Front. So, so you have the East Front here. I hope I have that the right way. Yep, I do. Okay. So you have the East Front that would add on to the single mapper. Nice thing is you can just play the single mapper. You don't have to use the expansion. Again, then you have another set of rules here for that expansion, and of course the published rules. But like again, if I can print them out, I prefer to print them out. I like to have the paper copy. I know a few buddies of mine like the same thing. If I can get them spiral bound, it makes it a hell of a lot nicer to flip pages. You don't have to, you don't have to fold them back on top of each other. So it just really nicely goes through. So, needless to say, I'm going to be spending some time putting this back into the box. But it was really easy. I did run into a few issues where I had some rules that I didn't catch towards the end. I don't think it really affected it that much. The one big one that I had was you have attacking headquarters. So there's two different types of supplies. There's attacking supply and then there's trade supply. Trade supply keeps your guys in units so you don't have craziness going all over the place. So you have just because you're in trade supply doesn't mean you can attack. You have to be within an headquarters unit to attack. With that, they actually go through. Yeah, and I'm really trying to stop saying as much. Thanks, Mitch. You're trying to go through, and you have to be within 5 truck movement points. If you have on roads, you can use it's a half movement point. Clear, it's 1. Mountains and rough, it's 2. There's some marsh in here that's nothing's 3. Marsh is 2, wetlands rough is 2, cities 1, forest is 1, bocage is 1, which you only deal with the bocage when you're kind of invading the first couple times. So you don't have, the bocage is different. It's times 2 defense. So sometimes getting out is a little problem. There's not much coming up from Marseille. One of the biggest issues was I was having a lot of my strategy for the Allies was to have the U.S. Attack. Again, why can't I stop saying Okay, back again. The U.S. attacking north through Cologne, through Aachen, through the Netherlands, through getting Antwerp and Belgium. And then I was having the Commonwealth forces, which those are the Polish, the Canadians, and the British. I really kind of moved those through Bordeaux and then Marseille as well, and have those come up from the south. The units coming up from Marseille got caught in the Rhone Valley. It was just a really big issue though. So they really got caught up at Lyon. They was having trouble breaking through. It was really pissing me off. I just could not get through there. Again, it's a city, defense times 3. I had a decent stack, as the Germans had a decent stack. So I played this solo. It was really, really fun. So I got through all of that. Finally got up there, and then I crossed the Rhine in one spot thinking it was... unfortunately, I'd read the expansion rules, and there's a few extra rules added on. And it wasn't... in the standard game, it didn't go through. So that kind of set me back, but it was really, really fun. It really worked out. This is definitely a game I'm going to break out again. It's so simple, so easy to play. I really can't wait to get the Eastern expansion going. I think that'll be great. I think it'll be fun. It'll take longer. Turns will be longer because you have the Russians coming in and then the Germans kind of doing that retreat back. one of the neat rules that I thought was in play with the base game, but it's not. It's only with the expansion game. Was once you get an allied unit across the Rhine, you have to do some rolls to see if you lose any steps on your German units. They actually say it's better to surrender in the east and put up a fight in the west because of that rule. There's some neat rules. I mean, it could get gamey. Because basically you can move all as a Germans, you could technically move all your troops, all your armies, all your troops, all your divisions, battalions, whatever, your entire force. You can go set it up to protect. The only issue is if the Allies can take Paris within, I think it's the first 8 turns. I can't quite remember for sure, but if it's within the first 8 turns, you get a bonus point. So you get like 8 bonus points. And so you really can't, as a Germans, you can't do that. Victory conditions are basically the Allied victory is 34 points, 34 victory points. And there are certain hexes that have victory points. Some are more, some. The highest one is 3. There's a lot of 1s and 2s, mostly 1s. Most of the cities are 2. There's some other ones that make sense that are 3 because they're like the oil supplies. Let's see here. I don't need these anymore. They're the V rocket sites. They are different units. So, and they pull units off, put units on. The air war part is really neat. The only thing is I know the Allies had control of the air, but it seemed like you should be able to get the Luftwaffe involved somewhat, and that's missing out of this. You can control certain air zones, and by doing that, you can increase your shifts for the air ground assaults. You have to use movement. You have to use air points for that, and once you get to the point where you have one zone left, which is the kind of the final area, you only need 1 point to secure that area. You don't need to secure all the other areas. And I really had an issue with the fact that there was no way to counteract that. And I understand that the Luftwaffe was pretty much ineffective by this time because it's the end of the war. So we're talking from 44 to 45. So June 44, so Normandy landing, that time period, through April of 45. Historically, they scored if we would be scoring victory points, the historical was a 45. On my game that I just finished up, I scored a 35, which is still an Allied victory. I was a little nervous. Like I said, I had the last turn gave me the victory. I was able to roll some 11s and 12s. I rolled like crazy. So I was able to get 6 air points. So first thing I did was Air Zone 4. You know what? Let me see if I can flip this around so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay. So and I do apologize if this gets a little crazy. Okay. So, and I've had to clear them off so I knew what I scored. So we'll just take these out here so you guys can see. So Air Zone 4 is right here. So it's my last stand was really, the Germans' last stand was really right here. In the last turn, I took this victory hex, which is worth 3. Let's see here. Yeah. So this victory hex, which is worth 3, and this one is worth 3. If I would have failed those rolls, if I would have had a horrible roll, I would have come a draw, which to me would be an Axis victory, even though it's a draw. So I got that one, and then I also picked up. There's another 1 point. Ooh, let me back it up here. There's another 1 pointer over here. So I picked that one up as well. And so these last couple turns, what I was able to do, I rolled almost the most points on air support. So Zone 4, 1 air point, I dominated it. By dominating, you get to do 2 things. Dominating it allows the Germans on roads to only use one road movement is 1 point per road hex. So usually if you didn't dominate, that's 1 movement point. So you're going half 1.
But because, I mean, this is one, so when you're looking at, by the time you're done, by the time you're done, you're looking at, fives and fours, and forget those. Those aren't even around. They're usually annihilated. You also have to pull off the SS counters at one point, so all these SS counters here don't work, aren't available anymore. So so that's one feature of why it makes it so. To kind of come back, I tried to get you get a few units right at the end, but they have to be put on A's, which I had taken over that. The Allies had taken over that one. They hadn't come over that one, but that was already stacked, so there was no problem. The Allies took over that one. So you're talking up here and then all the way the hell down here. There we go. So you had different. So you had different things going on. It was really, sorry. It really caused some issues for the Germans to come in. You can come in along the hex sides too, so like all in here. I did put a few units here to keep the Allies from trying to really get over to score these points. I had one rogue unit that was out of supply, and all it did was half, and it basically just came through and just like, okay, got that one, kind of check marked off the different victory hexes, which is really interesting. Also, the game itself is phenomenal. Solid rule set. Absolutely solid rule set. It is simple, yet there are so many decisions. It's so much fun. It really, really emphasized what I've been looking for in a few of the war games that I've been out there. I'm working on OCS and learning that system as well. And actually, because of this, I ended up picking up a couple SCS titles. I picked up Yom Kippur, and then I also picked up what's the other one? Heights of Courage. And then there was one of their magazines that MMP puts out. I can't remember what the Special Ops. I picked up the Autumn Barbarossa in Autumn, or Autumn and for Barbarossa, whichever one that was. And then there was actually an Ancients title, which I thought could be interesting. It might be a little bit simple, things like that. So it's really, I really can't, there's not much I can say that is bad about this game. I really, really enjoyed it. I wish there was some counteractive on the air, such as maybe some flak. Maybe before you can get the shifts, you have to roll 2d6 and on a 2 and a 3 or something strange like that. The error gets knocked out. Something along those lines. I think that would be interesting to add to the game. Now, that's being nitpicky. You really don't have that many air points. You can't. You need more air points than what you have. You really have to keep up with the units as well. So, anyways, this is definitely one of the games I will get out again. I was really, really happy with it. The turns don't take too long. I'd love to play this face to face, especially with somebody that has an idea of how to play the Germans effectively, to see how different it would be playing face to face. So let me put the camera back on. Okay, so all in all, what did I say? So, Mighty Endeavor. It's the expanded edition. It's awesome. It's really, really good, especially for new war gamers. If you don't want something heavy, in the mood for something lighter, or that's the type of game to play. Lighter games, not heavier, not crunchier games. I know several people that it wouldn't matter. The nice thing is they've developed the system. The system is so solid. I know there are a few complaints about a couple of the modules. You're gonna run into that. It's the way it is. It cuts out some of the gaminess. It actually gives you got to get some strategy going on. What was really nice is I actually went through and I focused primarily on getting
I kind of picked a focus once I said, okay, allies, you're attacking here, particularly the U.S. you're attacking here, British you're coming up here, and then I kind of threw the French in. There's a few, yeah. They also did some damage too, which was nice, especially around Marseille, in Lyon. They did a really big in the Rhone Valley. They really helped out. They got things moving in the Rhone Valley when things kind of stalled out. They kind of came through. So it's great. They actually have airdrops. I barely used any. Mainly just put them on, which that might have been something I could have used a little bit more effectively. And I may in the next game is that just to use that a little bit more effectively. The airdrops, they just don't have that many units, and there's actually some hindrances. There's some possibilities you could lose some units, you could lose some steps as you're going through the landing, the landing into Normandy or the wherever you want to land. There are several landing zones where you could go. Was simplified, but yet it was still really good. You had to roll on the invasion table. That lets you know how many you lost, if there was an attack. It was really, really good. They did a great job with that. I was very impressed. Definitely gonna say recommending this completely. Dean Essig, of course. What can you say? I've everything I've played of his I liked. It really good. I've got some other games, and like I said, I'm going through the OCS system trying to learn that one. I do have a couple of the titles that I really want to play. Looking forward to Smolensk coming out. Kind of got already somebody picked out. We talked about playing it. He's teaching me the system, and we're going to go forward with that. Kev over at the big board. So, but hey, any questions, comments, anything you want to see, let me know. Just put it in the comments, and we will do that. So, if that's all, that's what I'm saying. Mighty Endeavor, MMP. Still in print. This one I just got recently. I got it for the sale, on the sale. So that was pretty cool. Or one of the sales I got it. Get it. That's what I can say. Get it. It looks nice. Just learn the standard comment series. You can pop it up, lay it out, set it up, and you're good to go. 30 minutes, and you're playing easily through several turns. So that's that. I will talk to you later. I'll let you guys know what I'm building on. I think I'm going to play a little Eldritch Horror. I recently got a game from a friend of mine. Thanks, Brad. It's awesome. I've got Arkham, so this just added to that collection. I really, really liked it. So, anyways, going through this, I'm going to learn the BAR system through Clash of Arms. My goal is to play Mammoth. I'm just starting a current writing project. Don't worry, Ardwith. I'm kind of still spewing things out, but great game. But it's really going through. I'm starting a writing project. I live in Northwest Ohio. We have a very big part of Anthony Wayne. I've been looking for a very good kind of biography of his from kind of beginning to end, and I haven't found any. So I've decided to write one. So that's going to be years and years and years and years on the line. So we're going to go through that. So, okay. Well, if you have any questions, comments, again, Mighty Endeavor. Phenomenal game, great rule set, very, very solid, very, very easy to learn, very, very easy to teach, and then we can go from there. So have a great night. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.